Happy Sunday morning, boys and girls. It's your old pal, Andy France, the Grand Poobah of Judson Sunday School. Welcome back to another episode of Virtual Judson Sunday School. Let's talk fashion today. After all, who is more fashionable than me? The correct answer to that question is everybody. I know nothing about fashion. My idea of fashion is a good, comfortable pair of jeans and a Yankee shirt for every day of the week. But I do know one thing that fashion people sometimes use is something called a fabric swatch, if I've got that right. Now, do you know what a swatch is? We're not talking about those Swatch watches like they sell down on the corner of Bleecker under Cyrus's building, or they used to anyway. We're not talking watches. A fabric swatch is a small square of cloth or some sort of material. It's a sample to see if that's what somebody wants to use, to hold it up and see the color or the fabric or whatever. I just happen to have a bunch of pictures of various fabric swatches that I want to show you today. Let's see, I'm going to hold them up. Let's see how many of these you might recognize. We'll start with some easy ones, okay? What's this look like, first of all? Stripes. Easy. Just to give you an idea of what you'll be wearing one day when you're in prison. I'm kidding. People don't wear stripes in prison anymore, and nobody's going to prison. How about our next one? Another easy one. Suddenly I found polka dots and moonbeams. You are very old, Andrew. Polka dots. That's another easy one. How about this? For all you checkers champions out there, we have a checker swatch here. Now, this looks like a checkerboard. You can see how somebody decided to use that checkerboard idea for some pillowcases, which I think might be hard to sleep on because you'd be dreaming about racing all night, like those flags we had last week. When I crushed you twice, dominate. Never mind, sorry. Let's move on. Here's your first tricky one. Do you know this fabric swatch right here? This is called gingham. Gingham is usually comprised of 3 colors. The first is always white. The second is a dark color, like these dark reds or dark blues. And then the third color is usually a mix of the other 2. So you have a light red, a light blue. Gingham is very popular in stereotypes of the Midwest. Perhaps right now, your Auntie M back in Kansas is wearing gingham. Next, another easy one. How about this? Flowers, right? This is just a floral pattern. It's very pretty, sort of spring-like. Here comes another tricky one. Do you know what this is? You're thinking flowers, but it's actually called Ditzy. I've been called Ditzy myself. Ditzy is like a lot of small flowers sort of scattered over an area. It's very whimsical, very playful, kind of fun. Oh, here we go. Next. What do these represent? You might have to look a little closer here. I'll hold it up where you can see it. These are animal skins. Sometimes people like clothing or, I don't know, a sofa covering out of something that resembles the hide of an animal. So can you recognize any of these, like this one and this one? What do they look like to you? Maybe snake skin? Maybe lizard skin, something like that. I'm thinking snake just because of the diamonds, but what do I know about snakes and lizard skins? Holstein, right? Cowhide. How about this one and this one? Zebra, right? Zebra stripes. I'm guessing that these might be something solid like a deer skin color. You have spots like on a leopard or a cheetah. You've got tiger stripes. I don't know if you know anybody wearing a coat that looks like a giraffe. You might want to give them a little room. These are all animal skins. Animal skins are very popular with women of a certain age who wish to seduce men who go to college, at least in the movies. You can see Animal House when you get older. I'm referring to Dean Wormer's wife, or The Graduate, Mrs. Robinson. Mrs. Robinson, I think you're trying to seduce me. What does the word seduce mean? Hang on a second, let me check. Sorry, it's not our word of the day. You'll have to ask your parents. Next. Do you know this? This is called houndstooth. Can you guess why? Houndstooth was called this because these little checks, the little white checks, sort of resembled the teeth of a hound, of a dog, at least to the guy who came up with this phrase. For those of us who worship Alabama football, we associate houndstooth with the hat worn by our legendary coach, a man so famous they actually named an animal after him, Paul Bear Bryant. He wore this hat every time he coached a football game. In fact, now who doesn't know anything about fashion, huh? Let's get on with it. A couple more. You have a bath mat that looks sort of like this one. They're not checkers, alternating checkered squares, they're alternating diamonds. You know what this is called? This is called Harlequin. Harlequin is named after a 16th century clown character in Italian comedy plays, Commedia dell'arte. The character always wore an outfit that looked like this. See all these beautiful alternating diamonds? This was the costume of the comic character in the play. He was a buffoon and a slapstick kind of a character. Harlequin is also, there's also another famous picture called Harlequin, and you can see the alternating diamonds here. This is by Paul Cézanne, and it's called Harlequin. Cézanne, Cézanne, the father of Cubism. Another song that you don't know. Here's our last one. Ooh, groovy, baby. What's this called? This is called paisley. When people hear the word paisley today, they probably think of Brad Paisley, who's a famous country singer and a pitchman, along with Peyton Manning, for Nationwide Insurance. But paisley is actually it has these large teardrops. Can you see these things? They're sort of large teardrops with the curved ends. This particular pattern was very famous back in the 60s, and people like myself, who is that old, actually had shirts that looked like that. Don't even get me started on my Nehru shirts, okay? So, let me take off my fancy hat and move my script, sorry. When you look at all these particular fabric swatches that we were seeing, whether they're stripes or dots or whatever they are, what's one thing they all seem to have in common? All of these fabric swatches have some sort of repetitive, decorative design, some feature that repeats and repeats and repeats, whether it's stripes or dots or squares or checks or even those paisley teardrops. It's one after another after another. Each swatch represents a particular pattern, which is our word for the day. Yep, it's pattern, it's not seduce. Sorry about that. What do we mean by the word pattern? Well, a pattern can mean just what we were talking about, a repeated decorative design, but a pattern can also mean a repeated series of actions, something that you would do over and over and over, perhaps like a habit. If you do something the same way over and over again, it can be described as a pattern of behavior. For example, what do you do in the mornings when you wake up? I'm guessing you have some sort of routine that's like getting out of bed, going to the bathroom, having breakfast, brushing your teeth, and getting dressed. I would say going off to school, but I don't know if you're going off to school anywhere these days, so we'll just leave it at that. If you do all of these things, that could be described as your pattern of behavior in the morning. Or how about in the evenings? Do you have a routine before you go to bed? Do you brush your teeth, put on your pajamas? Maybe you have a story read to you, or if you're older, you're reading your own stories. Perhaps your pattern of behavior also includes a little bargaining for some extra time before the lights are turned down. Please, Mom, I only need 5 more minutes to finish this video game. We go through this every night, turn it off. But Mom, now. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Whatever your routine at night might be, it could be described as a pattern of behavior. Let's turn our attention to our lesson today, which is, well, last week we were talking about white privilege, which is that special advantage that white people get just because of the color of their skin. White privilege is based on that racist idea that white is better than other skin colors. In last week's story, you might remember there was a picture of 2 children in a store. There was a little white girl, and on the other side of the store was a little African-American boy. And there was a security guard right in the middle of the picture. Do you remember which direction the security guard was facing? He was watching the African-American boy to make sure he wasn't stealing. Because of white privilege, the little white girl was receiving the benefit of the doubt. The text in that story read, "Color matters. Skin color makes a difference in how the world sees you and in how you see the world. It makes a difference in how much trouble seems to find you or just let you be." How many of you are familiar with the Black Lives Matter movement? Here's my shirt today, Black Lives Matter. Have you heard of this organization before? Black Lives Matter is a non-violent movement advocating civil disobedience. In other words, peaceful protest. It was formed in 2013 in response to the deaths of far too many African Americans at the hands of the police. There was Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, Eric Garner on Staten Island here in New York City, and sadly, many, 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 many more. Just this year, we've had Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky, Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta, Georgia, George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and many others, all of whom were African American, all of whom were unarmed, which means they didn't have a weapon, and all of whom were killed at the hands of the police. Now, it is said that most police officers never use their weapons throughout their entire career, and that's true. But when police officers do fire their guns, the percentage of African Americans shot far outnumbers whites, Hispanics, Asian Americans, Native Americans, and everyone else. Which leads us back to our word of the day, pattern, a series of repeated actions. What the Black Lives Matter movement, one of their goals is to try and raise awareness of this particular pattern of behavior by the police against African Americans. Now, you will hear critics say that, well, that's just not right. You shouldn't say Black Lives Matter because all lives matter, or blue lives matter, blue, a symbolic color of the police. And that's true. All lives should matter, including the lives of police officers. What the Black Lives Matter movement is trying to say, though, is not that African American lives matter more than the lives of other races. What they are trying to do is to say that when it comes to the lives of African Americans, there is a pattern apparent in which African American lives are considered of less value than the lives of others by the police and by society at large. The Black Lives Matter movement is not just for African Americans. It's for all of us who wish to be anti-racists. Do you remember that word from a couple of weeks ago? What is an anti-racist? An anti-racist is someone who is against racism, someone who believes that all lives are of equal value, that no one race is greater than another race. An anti-racist is someone who is working to change the system, who will work to oppose racism wherever they might find it. That is our calling today, no matter the color of our skin, that we might look for those patterns of racist behavior wherever we might find them, that we might bring that to the attention of others, and that we might work to make better patterns. Well, boys and girls, today's story might remind you a little bit of last week's story in that it's about another police shooting. But this time, we are viewing it through the lens of two different families, a white family and an African-American family. The book is called Something Happened in Our Town, a child's story about racial injustice. It's written by Marianne Solano, Marietta Collins, and Ann Hazard, and illustrated by Jennifer Zavoyne. That's a whole lot of people to write one little children's book. Let's see what they all had to say, okay? Here we go. Something bad happened in our town. The news was on the TV, the radio, and the internet. The grown-ups didn't think the kids knew about it, but the kids in Ms. Garcia's class heard some older kids talking about it, and they had questions. I don't know if you can see these pictures very well, but you have in the foreground the town where this is happening and the homes and things like that. But this shadow up here is of children whispering or talking to other children, telling the story of this shooting. After school, Emma asked her mother, "Why did the police shoot that man?" "It was a mistake," said her mother. "I feel sad for the man and his family." "Yes, the police thought he had a gun," said her father. "It wasn't a mistake," said her sister Liz. "The cops shot him because he is black." Emma was confused. "He's brown, not black," she said. "Some black people have dark brown skin, and some have light brown skin," Emma's father explained. "Black usually means African American. Most of their ancestors were brought here from Africa as slaves." And once again, we have beautiful shadow pictures up here. "I know what a slave is," said Emma. "That's when you have to do whatever the other person says." Yes, slaves had to do whatever white people told them to do. Even after slavery ended, white people didn't let black people live where they wanted, go to school with white people, or vote. Who are white people? White people came here from places in Europe or Russia or other countries. We are white, even though our skin is light tan. So you have the family talking here, and you have in the shadows, you sort of have history in the shadows. You have some slaves working, a white overseer. You have the continent of Africa where the slaves were taken in chains. Here's Europe, and here's the United States of America. "Did our family do those bad things a long time ago?" asked Emma. "Yes," answered her mother. "Back then, white people thought that they were better than black people, even though it wasn't true." Liz added, "Some white people still think most black men and boys are dangerous, even though they're not." "Was the man that got shot dangerous?" asked Emma. "No," her mother said. "Shooting him was a mistake. It was a mistake that is part of a pattern." "Like the pattern on my blanket?" Emma asked. "Yes, but this pattern is being nice to white people and mean to black people. It's an unfair pattern." "Suppose you had a birthday party and invited everyone in your class except the black kids," her mother said. "How would the black kids feel?" "They would be sad," Emma said, "or mad. And you would be missing out because you never know who is going to be your best friend," said Liz. "And you can help others to be fair," said her mother. "Like telling Anna to stop teasing Ling about her name?" asked Emma. Her mother gave her a hug. "Yes, just like that." And here we have a picture of her mother giving Emma the hug in this apartment building, and next door is our next family. We have a young boy doing a drawing. It looks like he's drawing a police officer. In another house, Josh asked his mother, "Can police go to jail?" "Yes," said his mother. "Why do you ask?" "That white policeman who shot the black man," said Josh, "will he go to jail?" "What he did was wrong," said his mother. "But he won't go to jail," said his father. "Why not?" asked Josh. "Cops stick up for each other," said Josh's brother Malcolm, "and they don't like black men." Josh was confused. "Why not? Some police are black." "You're right," said his mother. "Uncle James is a police officer, and so is my friend Kenya." "There are many cops, black and white, who make good choices," said his father, "but we can't always count on them to do what's right." Malcolm added, "I could get stopped by the police just because I'm black, even if I don't do anything wrong." "That's not fair," Josh said. "What if it was a white man in the car? Would the police have shot him?" "They probably wouldn't even have stopped the car," said his father. "Sometimes white people are treated better than black people," said his mother, "but it's not right. Everybody should be treated fairly." Josh's mother gave him a hug. "We're proud of who we are. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela were strong and brave black leaders. They showed us that we can stand up for our rights and set good examples for others. They were treated unfairly, but helped others learn to be more fair." Again, the family is talking down here, and we have history going on in the shadows. We have a white police officer pulling over a car. We have Harriet Tubman leading slaves to freedom on the Underground Railroad. We have a shadow of Martin Luther King Jr. standing in the shadow of the Washington Monument. And we have the continent of Africa and the leader, Nelson Mandela, who we are going to talk about in the new year. "Some people haven't learned yet," said his father angrily. "Why are you mad?" asked Josh. "I'm mad that we're still treated poorly sometimes, but I can use my anger to make things better," said his father. "Black people have a lot of power if we work together to make changes." "I have power," Josh said, "and I'm smart." His father smiled. "You're right." His mother added, "And you can change people's hearts by sticking up for someone who is not treated fairly. Like how Malcolm sticks up for me when the kids tease me about my glasses," Josh asked. "He tells them to step off." "Just like that," his parents said. The next day, a new kid joined Emma and Josh's class. His name was Omad, and he was from a country far away. Omad didn't know where to sit or what to do because it was his first day in school. He talked a little bit, but it was hard to understand him. He said he was learning English. After lunch, the class went outside to play soccer. Daniel and Sophia picked kids to be on their teams. All of the kids were picked to be on a team except Omad. Daniel said Omad probably didn't know how to play because he was new. Sophia said Omad might not be good at soccer. Josh remembered what his mother said about sticking up for people who are treated unfairly. Emma remembered what her mother said about unfair patterns and birthday parties. All of a sudden, Omad wasn't alone. Emma and Josh were leading him to their team. "We have enough kids on our team," Daniel said. "We don't need him." But Josh was ready. "Step off," he said. "He's playing." "Yeah," said Emma. "We don't want to miss out." And just like that, Emma and Josh gained a new friend and started a better pattern in their school. Something happened in our town. Well, boys and girls, it's the first Sunday of October. It's a new month, and you know what October means. Merry Christmas. I'm not even kidding. It's time to look, and we're going to put Tom Waits on the shelf for a couple of months, and we're going to actually start learning a Christmas song, which I know sounds crazy, but if you figure in that we won't sing around Halloween, and we won't be singing around Thanksgiving, and then we have to do whatever video, we'll probably do a video like we did for Kids' Day. We have to do that a few weeks before Christmas anyway. Might as well get started learning this song. This year, we're going to sing a song from a Charlie Brown Christmas special. Do you know that special where all the kids, they sort of do that? And the teachers in Charlie Brown, they always say, wah, 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 wah. Charlie Brown Christmas. We're going to do a song called Christmas Time Is Here. It's by the great Lee Mendelssohn and the even greater Vince Guaraldi. I'm going to go over the pictures. Do you have your pictures and your lyrics? I emailed them to your parents on Friday, so hopefully you have them. They printed them out for you. I'm going to hold them up. We're going to go through all the pictures for the first half of the song, and then we'll sing it, okay? This song is a little high. I might not sing it quite as high as we do when we actually perform it, but we'll see. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So, Christmas Time Is Here. We look at these first pictures right here, and we've got Christmas Time Is Here. You've got Christmas, you've got Charlie Brown and Snoopy and the saddest Christmas tree ever, this poor little wounded tree with one Christmas ball hanging off a sad little branch there. So that'll be our picture for Christmas. Christmas time, you got a clock or a watch, is here. Remember these big ears from the Tom Waits song? Happiness and cheer. It's the movie Happy Feet, all those dancing penguins. So happiness and cheer from Cheerios. At the bottom, you have SpongeBob SquarePants. Fun for all. He's spelling out the words F-U-N, fun for all that children call. Do you recognize anybody in this picture? Some of you kids from last fall, I believe that's when that picture might have been taken. You have a cell phone there with a face on it. So fun for all that children call. We flip the page. Their favorite time of year. We have our little girl who, hang on, there we go. There, even though it's spelled differently, she's pointing their favorite. Do you know the Sound of Music? These are a few of my favorite things, or there's a melody in there somewhere. So we go with the word favorite from the Sound of Music. Their favorite time, again, of year. That's my old dog, Gart. Bless his heart. One New Year's morning, we found champagne and a hat in Central Park, stuck it on his head, and took the picture. Their favorite time of year, snowflakes in the air. Carols, we have Christmas carolers there. Carols, we have a Christmas caroling dog. Carols everywhere. We have the ever-ready batteries for every sort of sound. And where's Waldo? Olden times. We got our old couple. They've been in a lot of our picture songs before. Old in, the letter N. Olden times and ancient rhymes. You've got the Sphinx and you got all those pyramids from ancient Egypt. So we'll let that represent ancient. Olden times and ancient rhymes, nursery rhymes of love and dreams to share. We have love, a heart. This guy's dreaming of a big bag of money. Pleasant dreams. To share, you have a couple little kids sharing a milkshake. Can't do that these days, can we? Sleigh bells in the air. You have sleigh bells in, there's our picture for air again, in the air. Beauty, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty everywhere. We know that already. Yuletide by the fireside. You have the letter U, some L's. I don't know why they're so low. Yuletide. Yuletide is just another word for, it's an old-fashioned word for Christmas. Yuletide by, she's waving goodbye, the fireside. Another favorite picture of mine. Remember when we roasted Sebastian's behind, and then we had those marshmallows on our fake fire? Yuletide by the fireside. Flip the page. And joyful memories there. We have joy. This guy's very full. You can see his big stomach. Let me suck mine in. And joyful memories. This is a movie that not even your parents probably know. It's a movie your grandparents probably watched. It's called, what is that movie called? What's that movie with Robert Redford and Memories? The Way We Were. Sorry. So, isn't it ironic that I forgot the name of the movie and the word from the movie is memories? Ooh. And joyful memories there. Christmas, there's that sad tree again. Christmas time is here. We'll be drawing. This young man is drawing something with crayons. We'll be drawing near. Can you see this cartoon? Some guy has a sign that says, "The end is near." And this guy wearing a pandemic mask like we're all supposed to be wearing is saying, "I wish." We'll be drawing near. Oh, that we could always see. That's Our Lady on the scale. This is one of our favorite cartoons for the word way. The scale is actually yelling, "Yow, get off, get off." So we have, oh, that we could always see. And then we turn the page one more time. Such spirit through the year. You try and come up with a word for such. The closest I could get was Linus from Charlie Brown, sucking his thumb. Such. Suck, such, in the neighborhood. Spirit. We've got spirit. Yes, we do. We've got spirit. How about you? We have a cheerleader. Such spirit through. He threw the water balloon. And there's my old dog again, year. And then you have a musical interlude, and then we repeat some of the same verses. So that's pretty much the whole song. Why don't we sing it together? Let me get my pages in order here. 4, 1, 5. That's in order. So I'm going to sing it through once, and you can listen, and then you can practice if you want to during the week. Christmas time is here. Happiness and cheer, fun for all that children call, turn the page, their favorite time of year. Let's sing that again from the start. Christmas time is here, happiness and cheer, fun for all that children call, their favorite time of year. Snowflakes in the air, carols everywhere, olden times and ancient rhymes of love and dreams to share. That second verse was just like the first. Here's the sort of bridge a little bit. Sleigh bells in the air, beauty everywhere, Yuletide by the fireside, and joyful memories there. Let's sing that bridge part again. Go to page 3, sleigh bells in the air. Sleigh bells in the air, beauty everywhere, Yuletide by the fireside, and joyful memories there. Now we go back to that first verse sound. Christmas time is here, we'll be drawing near. Oh, that we could always see, turn the page, such spirit through the year. Let's do that one more time, and then we'll call it a day. Page 3, page 1, page 4. There we go. From the top. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Christmas time is here, happiness and cheer, fun for all that children call, turn the page, their favorite time of year. Snowflakes in the air, carols everywhere, olden times and ancient rhymes. Turn the page, we're on page 3. Of love and dreams to share. Now that bridge sound. Sleigh bells in the air, beauty everywhere. Yuletide by the fireside. Turn the page. And joyful memories there. Christmas time is here. We'll be drawing near. Oh, that we could always see, turn the page, such spirit through the year. If you've got that down, you've got the whole song, because the rest of the song after some piano just repeats. All right? Give it a practice if you get a chance this week, and thank you very much. Well, boys and girls, it looks like we've done it again. We've somehow managed to get through another episode of Virtual Judson Sunday School. I want to thank the people behind the scenes, Andre and Goff, for all their help putting this thing together. I want to thank you for being with me today. I want to thank you for being with me over the past 5 or 6 weeks, however long we've been going so far. We have been talking about race and racism and anti-racism and systemic racism and white privilege and patterns of racism. Starting next week, we're going to turn the page, so to speak. We're going to talk about books. Turn the page, books, get it? I've asked your parents to ask you to send me a video telling me what's your favorite book and why. If you can't limit it to just one book, you can add a couple more in there, or 2 books or whatever it is. Just in the video, just say what it is, what the name of the book or books are. Tell us why you love the books. And if you're not a reader yet, it doesn't matter. What's a favorite book that you love to have read to you? We'll do that, and then we'll watch the videos in next week's episode. And so until next week, I hope that you have a great week. For those of you who are going back to school, literally back in school, or whether you're still staying at home, I hope you have a safe week. I hope you'll keep a place, just a little tiny place for Judson in your heart. I heard those angels behind me grumbling. They're like, where are all the kids that are running back and forth every Sunday? They miss you, and so do I. So until next week, have a great week. I'll see you next week on another episode of Virtual Judson Sunday School.